Hey, Legend.
Hello. I see the call is full of people already.
Oh, yeah. At some point, it started to be a thing to be fashionably late in Germany. But only for people with like higher education, and it's being called the academic quarter hour.
So they made all these excuses just to be called late.
Yeah. I mean, the professors always make excuses, right? But I see Pause is here.
The academic quarter, awesome invention.
Yeah. And you haven't you have still 10 minutes left in your academic quarter.
Yeah, I mean it's a sophisticated way to give people like a bit leniency. And
Yeah.
it's not you need to arrive precisely 15 minutes late, but you have time, like, and you can arrive during those 15 minutes. Like, and everyone is fine with it. Kind of.
Kind of. I remember some professors who started locking the door at 5 minutes past the lecture time.
Yeah, I mean it's still rude, right? So
Yeah.
but it has a nice ring to it.
So maybe a quick look ahead. What do we have on our agenda today? We have the payment for Carlos, who did the squad dashboard implementation. And then we wanted to continue our discussion for what do we do in the future with bounties, and especially now that we have more leadership and direction in Grape. I think Taki has some thoughts about it. I have a call scheduled with him today after the DAO call, quick chat. And we should maybe scratch the newsletter bounty now that this is included inside the compensation package for community management / for Taki. That's my agenda for today. Now I'm making coffee. Did Dynai do his work? Do we have 5 million followers on our Twitter?
Almost.
That's good. Maybe concerning the Carlos payment for the squads implementation. I remember you were not quite satisfied, Pause.
What? Wasn't listening. I'm not happy with what?
With the squads implementation, of a dashboard implementation by Carlos. But I think it was more like you said it could be better, but
yeah,
I think
it's
it
like
was UI problems.
yeah, it's UI and therefore the usability aspect of it. So it's on a technical side, I am sure that it's good work and that he got it running is a good thing. Then again, if we really don't use it and like it's easier to use the squad side, then what's the point of having the bounty?
Yes, but you're complaining on a very high level, and
yeah, I don't think so. It's like if we make bounties, there needs to be some form of benefit. It's not like we don't need to prove a point or like
I
have
heard
bounties
benefit.
in order.
That's a
What's the
keyword
benefit?
for rider. The benefit word.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
What is the
exactly.
benefit?
Thanks.
Yeah, but I mean, you're obviously right that there should be a benefit, but I mean, the only thing we can do, we have something and it's working, so now we would have to look at the specific bounty description and then start arguing with Carlos that he didn't match the bounty description if you want him to improve the UI.
I mean, it's a learning thing, and we certainly or might improve on it. So, like, if someone
Like, do you know the
has a look
problem
at
of
the
his
front
bounty?
end,
Is the bounty is too old. The thing now is
yeah,
we are
that's a good point.
we have now alternatives to this bounty. Like squads like introduced a new wallet for just squads itself. If you guys know. And you know some wallets are now include squads as a DApp inside the wallet. So
Yeah, I
Yeah.
saw it on the side.
it's difficult.
Now I just imagined Legend with his girlfriend. You know what's the problem with you? You're too old.
I'm not Leonardo DiCaprio. Like when the girlfriend reaches 25, you good to go.
Yeah, get out.
Yeah, it's a good point, and we addressed it briefly at the beginning. So we talked about like a period where the bounty is active, and at some point we need to at least rethink it
Yeah.
or re-verify it, whether it's still something we want to have or if it needs to be modified.
I mean, we can still say no, right?
To what?
To what?
The bounty itself, like we
Yeah,
don't need it
yeah,
anymore,
sure.
or
Yeah,
do
yeah,
we really need it?
but the issue here is, at least I see it that way, that it's easier to do nothing and just keep it running than like having someone actively saying, okay, this bounty is too old. So
Yeah. So in the general case, I think that this model of we have like we get bounties in, we look at them, see okay, are they feasible? Are they something we really want? We make a bounty description. When the bounty is out there, and nobody looks at the bounty again until it's being done and somebody submits a solution. I think that model didn't work out clearly.
yeah, I still think we need, I don't know, like not only, I mean, the bounty council, I can see the bounty council
Hey,
as
Bernard,
like
hey,
a,
Alex.
hi, I can see the bounty council or bounty board as like an instance that gives a general estimation in regards to whether we or the DAO wants something specific, but I think we still need someone on a more technical level or
Yes.
that like looks at a bounty and says, okay, is it something that is written in a way that there are no misunderstandings or that everyone knows exactly what the DAO wants. So,
Yeah. What I imagine kind of is that we change the bounty concept to a kind of like project management or project whatever. If you don't like the word management, introduce something else that's a mean structure. And we do the same thing we currently do with bounties in the first step, where we look at them and take a more detailed look. But then we need to have key persons with the specific knowledge, for example, a dev or a Jarvis for design. And then the final stage before it goes out to people to work on is this person and final feedback and changes by this person. That's the first change I envision. And the second change would be that we don't just keep the bounties open and hope that somebody that someday somebody comes and works on it, but we should actively like monitor them and reevaluate them.
I think we're not the only ones to evaluate the bounty. Like this bounty, like the squads ones, was created by Taki Soul. So Taki Soul should be here to end also the bounty, to review the bounty itself, because he's the one with the descriptions and the requirements, and if he sees fit.
That's my issue with the process.
It's not Taki's bounty. Taki just recreated it in the form. It's Dean's bounty.
I think there need to be like 3 parties. Someone who has an idea and like says, okay, I can see this and that as a bounty because I think we need it. Then there needs to be someone who has a look at it. It could be the same person, but like it could also be someone else that says, okay, I understand the bounty and it's specific enough that someone else or whoever wants to take the bounty can work on it. And then the third party would be the person who is doing the bounty. So like the one who has the idea doesn't, or he or she doesn't need to have like a specific knowledge about something in order to say, okay, I can see us using this and that. So like a functionality, or to like write down an idea and like be the one who created the bounty. But there still needs to be someone that says, okay, I understand what you want or what this bounty is about, and it's specific enough for someone to work on it.
Yeah, and
because if you require that the person who creates the bounty is also the person who has like the oversight of the execution, or like has to say yay or nay in regards to whether the bounty has been done correctly, then I think this inhibits the bounty creation aspect of in itself. So like, yeah.
It goes against the basic idea of division of labor.
You and your fancy words.
Him and his German laws. That's more like
German laws.
You're too German, and it's coming from a German.
How do you mean German laws?
I don't know, honestly.
I don't
like it.
No, I only like fancy words and did what would be an honors course would be the equivalent, I think. I did in high school. I did honors in German, so I had to write in fancy words. Yeah, but so far, Pause, my understanding was that we as the bounty council, whatever, we are the second party in your description. The first party brings the idea. The second party is us. We look at it and see, okay, is it specific enough? Is it valuable for the DAO? And then
but when did we modify any bounty?
We modified quite a lot of bounties.
No, yeah, but after the fact, like after someone did something for us, we said, well, that's not what we expected, and then we changed things. But that's not.
We also changed bounties after the first proposal. We adjusted the scope of bounties and we adjusted the rewards of bounties.
But also only in a general manner.
No, I remember quite a few bounties where we explicitly said, okay, this is too much, we're not doing that, and we are changing it a little bit.
But we told whoever created the bounty to change it. We never ourselves did it, right?
I'm not sure about the
because I can't remember me changing any bounty.
Yeah, that's because I did the typing.
Ah, awesome.
No, I mean it wasn't that frequent, but like 3 bounties, I think we changed the requirements and the scope from our end. And
I think like for bounties like the one with squats or something for the dashboard, we always we can make it a requirement or something like we always need some form of mock-up. And you don't need to be a designer to create a mock-up. So like everyone needs to basically see what you expect. And even if it's just a scribble on a tissue where it says like, this is our dashboard and I want those information on it. And like, these specific fields need to be filled and so on. So like for
You can push it over
something
to
like
the
that,
Figma goat.
Figma goat.
Yeah, Dynet is on Figma, isn't he?
I don't know, but since he's not talking, I say yes because he can't talk back.
You can't talk back, yeah. Dynet, you are responsible for everything.
That's too much. Can't
Okay.
expect that.
Let's say he's responsible for Project Grape Moon.
Yeah, but like either we make it so that we need to specify what a bounty description needs to like to have, or so like a minimum requirement, or we have someone or like an instance or a party that gives like specific feedback in regards to whether something needs to be changed or added to the description in order for the bounty to be worked on. Or do you guys think that we are good the way we are doing it right now? I mean, it could be.
I don't think so. And what about Legend?
I'm lost.
That's okay.
Okay.
That's fine.
When did you get lost?
I'm hungry.
Only heard like, are we fine doing the way we're doing now, or we should change it?
So, and the consequence, if we say there needs to be some form of change, I also think that there needs to be some form of compensation for whoever is doing the review, so to say.
Yeah, that's the second question. Yeah.
Yeah, because if there isn't, it's like there will always be more like someone who is just glancing over it and will say, yeah, okay, it's fine, and then we are.
I don't agree with compensation. Like, if you're the one who brought that idea up, you should like focus on that idea and move along.
Yeah, the downside would be to inhibit like the. I mean, we don't have that many bounties in the first place.
Yeah.
Yeah, but let's not like create bounties out of thin air, like just for the purpose of it.
Yeah, you're mentioning a very good point, Legend, and I think that's we have two problems. First is what you said. Do we want to continue with this model of people come up with ideas to us and we then basically have to execute them? Or do we maybe change this model to something like there's a direction from some guy or some gremium, whatever, some council who tells us basically, okay, we want to work on grape art or whatever, and when we do that, this is the first question, like where do we get what we work on? What's the process of getting things to work on? And the second is what we talked about so far. How do we change the process of doing the work? And I think the first one, like how do we get things to work on, I will mention to Taki later today. So maybe we'll get some clarity on that today.
I mean, initially I thought about, or I thought the bounty initiative would cover everything that isn't part of the roadmap. So, like, this was my initial thought. But since we don't have something
Yeah.
like a roadmap, it's basically everything that isn't done by like Kirk, who then surprises us with new functionality, is basically a bounty. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
What I could envision working is something like, okay, we say we don't have more time / capacity for more than 3 bounties at a time, or more than 3 projects at a time. Let's call it just projects. And if we get if we are at capacity from input by Taki, for example, or by the main DAO, then we just don't work on individual bounties by DAO members. And if we have capacity, then we work on these also.
But if we have a look at the bounties that have been done so far, they differ so much.
Yes.
Like the only bounties that are like that could be seen as a normal project would be those done by Kirk, and it's like he's working on things and stuff, and there is some form of backlog that we don't know of, and he pulls ideas out of a hat and then he works on them and then presents the results, and we declare it as a bounty. But everything else, there is no competition in form, or like there is no, the resources aren't bound, and we don't like need to make or need to prioritize one thing over the other, because
I'm not sure how you mean, but I meant it this way, that we have only 1 hour of call each week, and I don't think it's fair to expect people to contribute much more time. And
who
so, and I meant it in that kind of capacity. We have 1 hour of a call and we have to get through things. So that kind of capacity. I'm not sure what
yeah,
kind of
okay,
capacity you are referring to.
but like it's not as if we were talking about a bounty, and then the week after this bounty is finished and we like need to talk
No.
about
I
other
mean, but
bounties.
the bounty is open until it is done, or we said, okay, it's not needed anymore. We're going to close it.
Yeah. Then we need something like a process where we are looking like 5 minutes or so, or 10 minutes each call or whatever, once a month, and like reevaluate open bounties.
Yes.
But this doesn't solve the issue in regards of, is the bounty specific enough to be
Yes.
worked on?
But this is more kind of a like first category problem. So how do we get what to work on, and how do we balance how many tasks and our capacity? But you're referring to the process of working on a project, like, or on a bounty, right?
Was there a question? I mean,
Yes.
yes.
Okay.
It's one of the things I'm talking about.
Yeah. Maybe you can bounce your ideas off Legend for a moment while I check the transactions.
I mean, the only bounties I will put as an idea, or like to get work on, will be like reconstruction of actual Grape website, because it's so old and it's outdated, and should be, making a new website just to be updated with the way we are now.
Yeah, good point,
I mean,
Dynite. My thought exactly.
like from our
I
side,
do,
no
but
one.
but I'm kind of a boomer in this way. I get Google. I even visit the websites of like towel producers, manufacturers.
Websites are so 2020,
Yeah,
guys.
yeah.
I only use the
I don't
website to
count as
get
because
the
what do I
documentation.
count as?
Yeah.
What do I count as, Dine? Yeah, I mean, I agree in principle that it's not great looking, not aesthetically
Yeah.
not pleasing.
And that's already a red flag.
In regards to what?
To not being updated, to be only like
Yeah,
like a draft, you know.
I'd say an outdated website is worse than having no website.
I would
rather not
say
have website.
Yeah. I
Honestly,
agree.
if you have only documentation on Gitbook and one website, just delete the website.
I agree.
Yeah, the whole bounty I will do is just UI, UX for the website, the dashboard, Grape art, everything.
I mean, we could even just like have the website display a link to our Twitter and or Discord. Done.
Yeah.
Discord website is just a simple our logo. Discord, Twitter, Gitbook. Done. Hey, get bounty says mir Dynamite. I think this is being recorded.
That's why he's only typing.
Ah, the typing goat.
Why even delete?
Why
And
even
he's
delete?
mod. He can do whatever he wants. Like nothing he wrote has ever happened.
We gave the goat power, and look what this got us.
Like you had in an agenda the vision. That's my vision.
Your vision is the website.
I mean, it will be the first step, let's say.
Okay.
So burn it down and then see what is to be done about the rest.
I mean, after something is done and done like nicely, you can just move on and think what we should do next. That's the problem. Like we just focus on too many things, and all those things are done like miserably. If we just focus on one thing and one thing only, it's way better. At least for me.
Kind of agree, but that's one bounty or one project you're mentioning right now. And the vision question was like, okay, we now have this bounty council, and we are meeting each week, and
Yeah.
we have done a lot of bounties. We have some experience, and how do we continue to bring value to the DAO, or even better, how do we bring more value to the DAO?
Yeah, but I kind of agree with Legend. But it's like with every project that you're doing, people often forget like the total cost of ownership. It's like you need to maintain things. You can't just put something out and then forget about it. You need to constantly like have a look whether it's still up to date and you need to change it or like dump it.
Yeah. You have to constantly be aware that you are creating legacy code and somebody has to maintain that shit.
It's not necessarily only the code, but of course, code is
but
an
I'm
important
talking
part.
in code analogies because it's like how I'm wired. Okay.
But you are surrounded by no code up labs. Like you have literally the polar opposite with Dynite. He's a meme god, but coding is like French for him.
He can make a ChatGPT prompt.
You know now it's paid. Like there's a free plan and a paid plan.
See my point, Dynite. And it took you like 0.2 seconds.
What kind of PP is that even? That's kind of like what is it? So the Chinese hat? I'm so confused. Okay, well, we are almost half an hour in. Who's not here? Have to take notes on who's missing.
So we move the weekly newsletter bounty to backlog, right?
I think we should cancel it.
I mean, yeah.
Because, I mean, if Taki is doing it now as a part of this
And what about Alphabot?
compensation,
We don't need it anymore. Or do we have the need for it?
come again?
The Alphabot.
Alphabot. Yeah, we don't need that anymore.
Okay. Backlog. Or we can just delete it.
I think the Alphabot we can delete and the newsletter we can put into backlog in case that things change again and we need this bounty again for whatever reason. And then we can pay Carlos. Or do you want to go through the bounty description and maybe start arguing about UI? Pause.
Me, I don't want to argue with you.
Okay. Then I propose we pay Carlos the rest of the 2K bounty, which is 1,500.
I mean, he did what we asked of him, so it's like. But I still think that we need to find a solution for this. Like.
Yeah, and I will ping cash, and when we get this process rolling. But first, we need to be in agreement here, us four, at least, to say that we want to pay the guy before I can ping cash.
I mean, I can just vote no on the squad's transaction.
Okay. I'm the only
typical
one,
legend, yeah.
Yeah, you can. But, well. I think we should be paying him. Only thing we could do is argue on basis of the description, the bounty description, that super team. published, because this is also the super team bounty, the only super team bounty we had so far, which also makes it more difficult. And yes, you can vote no in the squads, of course. Okay, my personal vote is yes. Dynite, what's your vote to paying Carlos? Maybe I should link you the bounty. It's about the squads dashboard. We could also try to talk to Carlos about UI first, but I'm kind of concerned about this, that because it's not like direct to Carlos with the squads. Our squads transaction goes to cash from Super Team, and Super Team then pays Carlos, because Carlos is a Super Team guy. So if we like ping cash and say, hey, we want to pay this bounty, should we send it to this address? And he is, yeah, go ahead. And when we initiate with squads transaction fails, we kind of look like dump assets. So I would prefer that if we don't think, or if there are people who think that they will vote no in the squads transaction, I would prefer that we resolve it earlier.
Oh, okay, now I get you. I thought, like, if this is the address they gave us, why would we look stupid? But yeah.
Yeah.
It was an address given last year, no?
Yeah, but I would ping the guy and say, hey, okay, is this still the process? Because I'm not like sending 1.5k in the blue. Yeah.
$1.5k for something that is not gonna be used.
Yeah, but that's the issue with us approving such bounties. It's and that's why I meant, like, maybe it's we have like a threshold where we say, okay, bounties below a certain threshold don't need like a revision or a revision process, but bounties that are above 1k or $500 or so, there needs to be someone who like has a look at it and says, okay, these questions aren't answered, and the bounty in itself is like not precise enough. And if someone does that, then there needs to be some form of compensation, because it's work. It's not like you can just say, yeah, the UI aspect is missing. So like you also need to be specific. And to come to the conclusion that there is something missing, you need to think about the bounty in itself. So you need to read it, you need to think about it, and you need to take time. And it takes time, yeah. So
Yeah, I mean, what I would like to do is you're mentioning very good points, Pause, but you're talking generally about what we are going to do in the future. But we are now at this specific point. What do we do with this bounty? Do we just like pay it, or do we try to argue for better UI? Or I don't know.
does the bounty say anything about UI? I mean, I think it's a straightforward process. If there is a bounty and someone did the bounty according to the description of the bounty, then he or she should be paid. That's my opinion.
Here's the super team specific description of super team.
Yeah, so like it's an pure technical description of what items and fields should be propagated, so like populated.
Yeah.
So there is nothing regarding UI or usability. So there is no user story. There is no I want to see XYZ because I want to do this and that. It's he fulfilled the bounty.
That's
If
also
I
my
remember
perspective.
correctly, this bounty was already in the talks to be done before it was approved. Because it didn't talk with Super Team before.
Wasn't it a bounty that like was something or like an what's the saying, like a proof of concept whether it would work to do things through the super team? So like
Yes.
Yeah, half a year later, it kinda worked. Bullish.
yeah, but my issue with that would be that we gave them something that we want to have that we want someone to like do, but
Who?
I thought like the DAO, because I remember everyone was happy or and like in a state of ecstasy when like the guys of Super Team were here, and I was like, nah.
Like you
But
saying happy, like remembered, like in the calls,
yeah,
almost
they should.
half the DAO people are present, and I don't think there's any vote.
Yeah, but they should
You
have been
are very grinchy today, Legend.
the Super Team guys should have been the ones who review the bounty and see flaws with it.
Yes.
I like, yeah. So why we pay them for that, right? Or we would pay them.
Yeah. We are not paying a super team. As far as I know, everything we pay to super team is being redirected to Carlos. I don't think super team is taking a cut. I don't. Yeah. I think it was this thing for the super team perspective on this thing was to, well, maybe get us at a returning customer and sell us more services. And as far as I know, they are not taking a cut on this transaction. Everything we pay
Okay.
goes to Carlos, who
Okay.
made the code.
So still, they should have been like the ones like being something similar to a project owner in this case, and they should have said like, okay, this is the bounty that Grape wants to do. We find someone who will do it, and we review the bounty, and like if there are questions, we answer them. Or is it just like another platform idea where we post our bounties? So it's, what was the thought process of making this bounty through Super Team?
Okay. Well, I think the thought process, it was not my thought process. It was proposed and pushed by Dean, and I was wary of the whole idea, but he said, okay, we're going to do this, and we will see how it works out. Yeah, the thought process, so far as I know, was that we take a rather smallish task to the super teams guys, and then we will get somebody to work on it much faster than if we publish it on our discourse and tweet about it, because the super team guys have devs, and not only a few devs, but they have devs and they have time and they have a structure and a process for that. So they should be able to complete such a bounty much faster than if we do it without Kirk. Because at the point in time that this bounty was done, we had the problem that we had several open technical bounties, and Kirk was, well, working on his own schedule and not really communicating much, as is the case right now. So we were testing out if we could maybe get technical expertise from outside.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So what's our conclusion?
Well, we got a dev, but we got no project management at all, and I think the dev was a little bit overpriced. That's my personal conclusion.
Legend, your take? And Dynite?
On what?
On how the bounty was handled.
This one?
Yeah.
Bad. One word. I mean, this bounty, it dates to the beginning of June when the team was disassembled. So a lot of mistakes, I assume, was done doing the bounty.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And at that time, did we had the bounty board?
Okay, I will now officially agree to call us the bounty board. Fuck it.
I don't know. I just joined way later on.
Yeah, it was, I think somebody like Dina, whoever called it the bounty board first, but let's call it this way. It's easier. And as we had the DAO board in the past, makes kind of sense. Yeah, we had this constellation like we do have right now with bounty fund owners and bounty master, and yeah, it was. I mean, yeah, we did have this constellation. What is your specific question? Legend?
Hello?
Yeah, I hear you.
I'm finished.
But you asked me if we had a bounty board back then when this bounty was done, and I said yes.
Okay. Just wanted to know.
Are there any follow-up questions from your side?
No, no.
Okay.
I mean, the overall question is, what do we do with this bounty, right? Or just talk about it? If you just talk about it, then it's useless. Just make the transaction for payment and it's done. If we can do anything to it.
Yeah, but the whole reason we're talking about is to say how can we do better.
Well, do you know how? You ask first, what's the benefit of it?
Well, the benefit was that we got a dev. That's the benefit I can see. Pause, you can see Dinah's comment in chat.
Yeah. And I like the ostrich.
I am intimidated by ostriches since I know Kevin.
But it's a rhea, not an ostrich.
It has wings, but it doesn't fly. I don't know.
Everyone listening to the recording is like, what the fuck?
Yeah, the 2 to 3 people. Okay. Yeah, we are almost done with 7 minutes left. So what kind of notes did I take today? Before I go through my notes, yeah, I think we can all see that the technical bounty description on the Super Team Notion side was fulfilled, so we should pay the guy.
Yes.
And I will ping cash for payment. How do you mean, right? How do you mean Dynite? What? Get your meme words straight. It's Fluten Tuten, not Flutten Tutten Flutten. Yeah, my notes for today. So 2 areas have been identified. First area is how do we get what to work on? And so far we got it by all the DAO members individually. And going forward, we should maybe change that to like maybe get priority tasks from leadership or from the main DAO. And additionally, if we have capacity left, work on individual bounties. And I would very much like to rename the bounties to projects. And then we should think out about a capacity level, like we can only manage maximum amount of some number, for example, 3 active projects. And then reevaluate them weekly so we don't get into this situation where we have a very old bounty that suddenly gets completed and we have to pay for it. Like what Legend mentioned today several times, that it's a very old bounty. And The second area is our process of bounty management, and where Paul's made the comment that we should introduce user stories to specify more what we want to achieve, how to achieve it. And my addition to that is that we need like persons with specific knowledge to basically give us a hand after we made a user story and we did the first evaluation of what is the benefit or what is the value for the DAO. And then we give it to the person with specific knowledge, and afterwards we only give it out to be worked on.
The end.
My thoughts exactly.
Yeah. I see in chat you reminded you said Dynite what words he's throwing around. Yeah. Legend, did you have coffee today?
I don't drink.